What's up everybody, welcome back to the Art of Crypto, the birthplace of absolutely legendary gains. In this video we are going to talk about Litecoin and why I believe that Litecoin is about to take off on a 2 to 3 year uptrend that will likely see Litecoin at least going for a 5x, maybe even more over the course of that time. So if you want to figure out exactly what I am looking at Litecoin in order to reach this conclusion, you're going to want to stick around to the end of this video. But otherwise, before we dive right into it, if you haven't already followed me on Twitter at _theartofcrypto, you're going to want to do so. This is where I'm talking about any coins that I might be looking at, as well as any, advice, market updates, or anything that I am not able to share on YouTube due to time constraints. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you head over to Twitter. And for now, let's talk about Litecoin. So the reason, the biggest reason why I do believe that Litecoin is very, very close to going on a straight uptrend is when you look at Litecoin against Bitcoin. So this is Litecoin against Bitcoin on the weekly chart, mind you. And this line that I've drawn right here is sort of like the all-time low for Litecoin against Bitcoin. And this ties into a few concepts that I like to talk about. So for example, for those of you who watch my videos lately, you know that I talked about SLP, and at the moment you have hit TP1, that is a 2x. Actually, wow, you've hit TP, wow, okay. I actually did not set a take profit target on here, but yeah, to those of you who watch my videos, I called this, right? I said that SLP was very close to the bottom, and at the moment, Litecoin against Bitcoin is looking exactly like that, right? It does seem that it will find its bottom, if not soon, right? It's either already found its bottom or soon. In my opinion, maybe give it just a couple of weeks, just a few weeks, couple months, and it's going to start forming a little round the bottom pattern on the weekly chart over here, and then it's going to start taking off. And if it does take off, if you are trading Litecoin against Bitcoin, I do expect the minimum price target to at least come over to here, right? Let me mark down that target and I will explain to you why I think that Litecoin is going to go to that level very soon. So of course you have that level, you have that level, and of course you have that level. And if it hits either one of these levels, you're going to get like a 5x on this trade. And as for how long I think that's going to take, I cannot be sure. For all I know, it could take a year, it could take half a year, but at least you have to give it a few months. So similar setup to SLP. For those of you who took SLP after watching that video, I did make a video about this. I did call it that to buy the breakout of this level, and this is exactly what you got. For those of you who watched that video and took this trade, I want you to comment that in the comment section below, SLP, or just say a thank you or whatever, so that I know that this knowledge isn't falling on deaf ears. So going back to Litecoin and Bitcoin, this setup right here is way stronger than SLP. So there is a couple of rules that I usually like to follow when I take trades. So if any of you watch any of my videos, I usually talk about how markets move in phases of expansions and consolidations. So for example, over here, you've got your expansion phase right over here, and then you get your consolidation before another expansion, consolidate, expansion, consolidate. You see what I'm getting at right now. This massive, thing here starting from April of 2019 is just one big massive consolidation for Litecoin against Bitcoin. That means that, hey, you consolidate into a point of support, the next thing that happens is you pop, right? This is my favorite kind of trading setup, and it is exactly the kind of trading setup that I called on SLP and many other coins in the past. And let's just take a moment to appreciate how on the dot this price came to my price target. My price target was 1359. It came to 1360. Let's just take a moment to appreciate that. But otherwise, that is fine and dandy at all. And right now, it's time for me to give you the actual, the trading setup. What do you look out for in order to jump into this trade? So for starters, I would really like to see a breakout above this level right here at 3261, which would indicate that we might be overcoming a major resistance on the weekly chart. Again, this stuff is happening on the weekly chart, so anything that is set here is going to hold a lot of power. But honestly, if you want to be safe, right, the first entry is going to be buying a breakout of 3261 Satoshis. So as you break out at this level, you buy along with the breakout, or you buy a bullish retest of that level. That is going to be the safe entry. No, sorry, that is going to be the quick entry, right? Just to make sure that you don't miss out on things. The real entry is going to come in at around 3554 Satoshis. Once you overcome this level, once you break this level, you're going to want to buy the breakout of that level and or a bullish retest of that level. The reason why you want to take a breakout or a retest is because you can set your stop loss at a very reasonable level, right? You can set it right below here. If the price falls down, then you get stopped out for a minimal loss, because a breakout is supposed to break out. It's not supposed to come back down. So the reason why I would say 3261 is not so safe of a level is because we have gotten faked out multiple times already. And as you can see on the weekly chart, we have formed a swing high over here against Bitcoin. So a swing high basically just means like among 3 candles, the top of this candle is the tallest one among the 2 candles right next to it. If you do get a break of this swing high, basically if the price were to attack this swing high and take it out, that means that we might have already switched to bullish order flow, right? Remember, if you don't know what is order flow, you are really going to want to watch that video that I made like a couple days ago on how to tell when a market is bullish or when a market is bearish, and exactly how to snipe the exact bottoms, right? How do I know that the price is going to come here and that is going to be the bottom? How do I know that? If you want to figure out exactly how I know that and exactly how I know when a market has turned bearish or when a market has turned bullish, you're going to want to watch that video, but do that after you finish this video. So once you break a swing, once you break that swing high over here, then that you've already fulfilled one of the conditions of bullish order flow, which I talked about in that video. I'm not going to get into it here, otherwise this video is going to become incredibly long. But otherwise, once that happens, you just look for an entry on a pullback, which I do believe is going to come somewhere at about 3261 Satoshis. So just to draw it out for how I think it's going to happen, if Litecoin is bullish right now, again, I'll give you a couple of reasons why I might not believe that Litecoin is bullish right now. So something like this is going to happen, and then bam, you're going to go take out a previous high, and the rest is going to be history. So the reason why I might think that Litecoin is not going to pull off this move instantly is because of funding rates. If you go over to coinglass.com, this used to be bybt.com. It is a website that I use a lot, and it is a website that I do recommend that you use as well. This website tells you what is the funding rate for a lot of altcoins, basically, or a lot of crypto coins, basically. So when funding rate is really high, and by high I mean like getting close to 0.1% territory, that means that the majority of the people in the market is going long, right? The market is disproportionately long. And when you assume, or rather when you think about it, that most people who go on leverage are probably using at least 10x, if not 5x, right? Like then you kind of see where's the problem, right? If everyone's going long on leverage on at least like 10x or something, that means that a 10 to 15 or maybe 20% move downwards is going to stop out everybody. So if you want to figure out why the market makers like to do this and take out the liquidity, make sure you watch that video that I recommended to you too, because I get into how the markets work, right? Why do markets work the way they do? Why do they go up? Why do they go up to a certain level and then they start dumping? How was I able to know, for example, SLP, that it would come to this level and get rejected? Just as an example. So if that is something that interests you, make sure you go watch that video. But otherwise, let's get back into Litecoin. So a couple of reasons, like as mentioned, funding rate is still incredibly high right now. And until funding rates get reset, I don't believe that we are going to make any significant kind of move. So remember, when I talked about how Litecoin was about 5x from this point, I'm talking about somewhere like $1,000 at least. And in order to get there, you cannot get there with this kind of funding rates because everyone's being overly greedy at the moment. So here is a couple of scenarios that I'm expecting to happen, and to better illustrate that, I'm going to go onto Litecoin against USDT. And in the event that you do get a funding flush come Monday, right, because right now is at the time I'm making this video, it is a Friday, and for those of you who don't know, Fridays, like weekends, tend not to be the best trading days for crypto because the market makers, well, they know that a lot of people are going to be off during the weekends, including the traders and the hedge funds and any of the institutions. And because of that, the weekends is sort of like the day where retail gets into the markets, right? Because most of the retail is working during the weekdays and they tend to come in during the weekends and let's get into a position. And oftentimes, I can tell you, oftentimes, not all the time, getting into a position during a weekend is one of the worst things you can do because I don't know if you realize, but absolutely nothing happens in the weekends, especially when you're trading Bitcoin or Ethereum or, the larger cap coins. So in this case, I'm not saying that Litecoin's not going to do anything over the week. In fact, I gave you these scenarios already, right? So if you get a break above these two levels, that is going to be a set, like that's going to be go time for a breakout, right? You can go for a breakout trade. But if you want to get the best, the best entries, or rather the best moves out of your trades, you're going to want to take them during a weekday. And so I always recommend, as a general rule of thumb, this is another golden tidbit that I'm sharing with you guys right now, I always recommend as a rule of thumb to always keep your trades during the during the weekdays, and not to take any trades on the weekends. Now I know that might be hard for some of you to comprehend because weekends are the only times that you're free, but I'm telling you that's not how the markets work. And if you are able to just trade on the weekdays, everything moves a lot better on the weekdays. So if you're just able to trade during the weekdays rather than the weekends, you're going to see like a massive improvement in your trading. Like, I'm not even kidding. So just give it a try and let me know how it goes. So in the event that you do get a breakout, again, right now, this chart that we're looking at is so grand in scale, right? This is basically predating back to 2017. And if you don't like, you have to understand what we're targeting here, right? I do believe that at the very least, you can go to something like this. And if it does, that is going to be like a 5x to a 10x. So this is the scale that we're playing at right now. So this is going to be a long-term trade. I'm calling it. This is going to be a long-term trade. This is probably going to take a year to 2 years. But if you want to be confident, if you want that kind, like if you have never experienced a 10x trade, this is going to be one of them, right? You buy this, hold it somewhere about this level, right? Or hold it somewhere below this level, right? Buy that and just, you catch the bottoms. That's what I'm trying to say. So the take profit targets in the event that you do buy the breakout is going to be somewhere about, 4,479 Satoshis, right? Every number that I'm going to talk about right now is against Bitcoin. Don't worry, I will get into USDT later. And yes, it does apply, Bitcoin against USDT, it is mostly the same, but nonetheless, I will get into the against Bitcoin price targets first, because that is what we're basing this trade off of, right? It was a setup that we came upon on the weekly chart / the monthly chart on the Bitcoin chart, right? Against Bitcoin. I know that was a mouthful, but otherwise, the take profit targets, if you do buy a breakout of both of these levels, is going to be 4,479 Satoshis, 4,939 Satoshis, 5,363 Satoshis, 6,683, 8,000, 9,400, 10,500, 11,600, 12,800, 15,370, 17,700, 21,000, 24,000, and 29,000. So that is going to be the price targets for this trade. And for those of you who are confused, why am I giving this many price targets? I'm going to mark out a few key ones for you. So at the minimum, I do believe that we will go to 4,479 Satoshis. That is going to be TP1 for me. Personally, I would then set my TP2 at 8,000 Satoshis, right? If I was trading this long term, then this is what I would do, right? If you don't want to trade this long term, you want to just take it as a day trade, then, or maybe a short term trade, then close everything at about 4,500 Satoshis, right? But if you're trying to get a 10x, then this is how I would do it. So the first price target is going to be at about, remove 4,480, because if we get into this trade, we are of the perception that, the expectation that order flow has already switched bullish on a higher time frame. So again, I know that is trading jargon. If you don't understand that, go watch the video that I posted like 2 days ago. It will make a lot of sense. So I do believe that the first key level, like as long as order flow, right? As long as we go in with the expectation that order flow is already bullish, I do expect the first level that is going to get attacked is going to be at about 6,600 Satoshis, right? Or somewhere about 7,200 Satoshis, right? Because this is a previous high that formed on Litecoin before this massive dump right here. So at the very least, right, my first price target is going to come in somewhere at about 5,360, right? That's going to be my first take profit. And if that is the case, this is about 60 to 70% of gains right there as the first price target. And yes, it will take a few months, it will take a couple of months, but this is a very safe trade that you're taking right now, because the higher the time frame, the more conviction that you can have that it's going to play out in your favor. So the second price target is going to be at 8,000 Satoshis, right? That's going to be my TP2. And then my TP3 is going to be at 17,700 Satoshis. Yeah, I know that is a very big jump, but once you watch the video that I gave you like 2 days ago, you're going to understand way more as to how I'm doing things. Then the fourth take profit is going to be at about 24,000 Satoshis. And then the fifth, or rather any future take profit targets, is going to be at about 36,000 Satoshis. And the rest is going to be just all-time highs, right? Maybe 50,000 Satoshis. And if this trade were to play out all the way, this is going to be more than a 10x, right? It's going to be a 14x. Hopefully, that's going to happen sometime, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years. So now to explain to you a little bit about how these price targets work. So it all depends on what kind of a trade that you are treating. Again, I always tend to go off topic and start giving you guys some tidbits of information when it comes to trading. If you appreciate this, make sure you drop it in the comment section below. If you would rather me just talk about the trades, make sure you drop it down in the comment section below so I know what kind of an audience I'm dealing with, right? If you like this kind of educational, gold, make sure you let me know. So whenever you're taking a trade, it is always important to have a plan, right? As I don't remember who said this, but somebody said, always have a plan, because if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And it is not like in trading, that is very, very important, and I can say for a fact that that is really, really true. So the reason why you want to have a plan is because for example, if I'm going into this trade based on my price targets just now, that is a price target of a long-term trade. And by long-term trade, I mean 2 to 3 years. It means that I'm trying to catch the majority of the move from the weekly to the monthly chart, which means I'm not trying to base my trades off of, like, say, the 4-hourly chart, because if I was looking at the 4-hourly chart, it would be absolutely ridiculous for me to be thinking about like a 5x trade or a 10x trade from the 4-hourly chart. As you can see, if you go onto the 4-hourly chart, the key levels of, there's going to be so many more added levels of resistance. For example, I could draw another one here. I could draw another one, for example, here. I could, for example, draw it there as well. And when you go onto the weekly chart, you will see that everything goes, everything is very high level, right? You get a very different perspective, and all of a sudden the resistances that you see from below, all of a sudden they don't look like resistances anymore. They're just one single candle. And that's why when it is important that you have a plan, right? Always go into the trade with an exact, not even an exact, right? But at least have a rough idea of how long you plan to keep the trade open. For example, if I'm trying to aim for, let's say, a 5x to a 10x, then I would expect, even before going into the trade, that I would be staying in the trade for at least 3 to 6 months, up to 1 to 2 years. Meanwhile, if I was just trying to sculpt like 5% moves in a day or 10% moves in a day, I could be taking trades every single day, but I would definitely wouldn't be basing my trades off of the weekly chart or even the daily chart. I would be sticking closer to the 4-hourlies instead. So always have a plan, right? A lot of beginners tend to struggle with this, right? They go into a trade and they have no idea what is their plan. They don't know what kind of price targets they're trying to aim for, and they just wing it, right? Oh, it hits take profit 1. Let's take all my profits. And then it's something that I see a lot in my private Discord group as well, which I'm trying to still help people get over this. But nonetheless, I'm not trying to shill my Discord. Anyways, if you don't have a plan, you're just going to take everything here. And while that is pretty good gains, for example, if you do buy the breakout here and it goes all the way up to there, it's about 20%, which is good gains for most people. But again, it depends on what kind of a trade that you're trying to get, right? For example, SLP was a swing trade for me, and I was expecting at least a 2x, and I was telling people that, hey, 1359 at least. And at the moment, just look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. For those of you who took this trade, let me know, man. This is precisely about 1x from the bottom that I called. I did call the bottom, by the way. But yeah, so always have a plan, right? If you're day trading, nothing wrong with day trading. Just make sure you have a plan, right? If you're day trading, don't be trying to take your profits too late. If you're trying to take a swing trade, if you're trying to catch, a big bulk of the move, then don't be taking your profits too early, right? Always understand the kind of timelines and just price targets that you're working with. It will help you so much in your trading. And if you want something else that helps you with your trading, you're going to want to check out the private Discord group. Over here, not only are you going to get daily market updates, like basically in real time, I'm going to be telling you, hey, how's the market looking like today? Is it good? Is it bad? What coins I'm looking at? What coins do I think is going to pump? And as a bonus, you're going to access to all of the trading setups that I'm sharing. Basically, if you want to follow along with the 10K to 100K challenge, it's sitting at about 50K right now. Then this is where you're going to be doing it. And as a bonus, just to show you that I am not full of S, we have people making money literally every single day. Now, if this would just load, that would be great. I am not having the best of Wi-Fi at the moment. Well, okay, that really took a while to load. But yeah, again, just to show you, we are making money literally every single day, and it is from calls that I'm making as well. So let's just say that it's going to pay itself off real quick, and it will pay itself off even quicker once you take the trading education, where you're going to learn everything that I've learned over the years. And this is going to be where you find out what works and discard 90% of the things that don't work. And as a bonus, I am currently revamping the training course, so it's going to be even better. And once this is done, man, I really do hope that it's going to be one of the best trading courses out there. But hey, it's going to be a couple months before I actually finish the trading course, because it is a lot of work. So right now, let's get back into Litecoin against USDT, because I did promise you guys that I would give you guys an alternative trade that you can take on Litecoin USDT, and that is going to be during a pullback. So remember what I said about funding rates being incredibly high just now, and that I was expecting some kind of funding flush during the weekend. And just to touch on that weekend thing a little bit more, right? During the weekends, what you will find is that the market makers tend to keep everything in a range. Basically, everything's just going to be, gyrating up and down in between two levels. And when the time comes to the weekly open or the weekly close, what you're going to see is oftentimes you're going to wick just a tiny bit below that range, and then you're going to wick above that range. And basically what this is doing is you're clearing out the liquidity on both sides. So I want you to imagine this. If everyone's going long or short on a range, maybe everyone's going short here, everyone's going long here, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have everyone setting their stop loss at the same level, right? Everyone's going to be setting, like if you're short, you're going to set your stop loss here. If you're long, you're going to set your stop loss here. So once it comes time to the weekdays, what you'll see is that market makers wick the price down here, clear out everyone, wick the price up here, and then the real move begins. And that is why oftentimes I recommend not trading on the weekends, because you're going right into a range, and as a trader, the trend is like your biggest friend. You're not supposed to be trading a range. The trading ranges is exactly how you lose money. Trading trends is how you make money. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight as to what I think, why I said what I said just now. And because of funding rate being relatively high, it's not really high, but it's relatively high, like it's kind of high. So what I expect to happen over the weekend, again, it might come true, it might not come true, but either way, I just want to be prepared in case anything happens. So right now, funding rate is still not incredibly high. So what I expect to happen over the weekend is that the market makers are going to, just keep the price around here and then get everyone to start taking on positions, right? Get everyone to start taking on bets. So for example, you want more people to participate in the market. So oftentimes what you're going to see during the weekend, you're going to see funding rates start going up because everyone is very impatient. They jump in during a range instead of jumping in during a trend, and then when it comes time to the when it comes time to Monday, everyone gets stopped out and the market carries on as usual, because the market cannot carry out the biggest of moves without first stopping everybody out. And that is the rationale behind why I'm going to give you limit orders right now. So the limit orders that I'm going to set is just at about $170, 144, 120, and 105. I do believe that in the event that you do get any of these levels on Litecoin, I'm going to be stocking up heavily within this range right here. Now, I do believe that the bottom is going to come in somewhere about these 4 levels, and the way that I ended up on those 4 levels is I was mapping out the key levels of resistances and support on the daily chart. So remember what I said about the higher the time frame, the higher conviction it has. So in the event that you do get to any of these levels, it's going to be really good levels to buy Litecoin, and 4 of these levels is going to be very close to the bottom for Litecoin. I actually do not expect hitting 105. So 170, 144, and 120. In the event that you do get Litecoin at those 3 levels, it's very likely that it's going to be the bottom, and it is going to go to all-time highs against USDT. And for most people, let me just map it out for you, it would mean somewhere between 2x to potentially 5x to 10x. But even though 105, I do not expect it to hit, you could still hit it, So in the event, just have some money ready, right? Litecoin is going to be very, very close to the bottom already. And if you do get it, absolutely brilliant, right? Just make sure you pay attention to Litecoin, stop sleeping on it. I know a lot of people have been, including myself, but bottom is very close to being in, guys. And that is why I am incredibly bullish on Litecoin. And if you do break below 105, I am going to be very confident in saying that $86 is going to be the bottom for Litecoin in the event that it gets there. So make sure you mark down all of the levels that I mentioned to you on your own chart, because I'm already giving you the exact levels. And if you cannot even be bothered to mark it out yourselves, then there is nothing more that I can do for you. So make sure you scroll back and mark out those levels yourselves. But for now, I'm actually going to mark out the take profit levels for a potential all-time high on Litecoin, assuming that 105 holds. Then those take profit targets is going to be at about $600. I do believe that is going to be where the top is going to come around. So this is going to be the 3 final price targets for Litecoin against USDT, at least in the next few months. If you do want to go even further than that, then I'm going to draw a fib again, and I'm going to take the 3.618, 4.618, and 5.618 extension levels. And as you can see, this lines up exactly with the Bitcoin chart that I was talking about, where you were going to get about a 5x to a 10x from this point onwards, and it's pretty close, I would say that. So the take all-time high potential tops for Litecoin is going to come in at about $600, $700, $900, $1,200, $1,500, and about $1,788. I'm not saying that it's going to hit all of those levels, but in the event that it does, you heard it from here, right? I'm calling the top way in advance, just like how I call bottoms way in advance. And if you want to get access to all of those kinds of trades, make sure you check out the private Discord group. But for now though, may the gains be with you, my friend, and peace.